Welcome to Sweets, Treats, and Eats on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. I'm Howie Morgasen. On this episode, we're off for an international journey. We're spanning the globe for all kinds of different recipes. And we're taking family and friends of the family along with us for this exploration. So let's take a look at what we're going to put together for you on this episode. So we're starting out with something called halupki, which essentially is stuffed cabbage, and that is from Eastern Europe. A really yummy dish that's pretty easy to put together. We're then going to go to Grandma Serafina's spaghetti pie, and we have a true Italian to help us with that dish. Then we look at the ultimate broccoli rabe. And a lot of people are turned off by broccoli rabe because it can be bitter, but we have the authority with us that tells us how to make really nice broccoli rabe. So we're looking forward to that. And then Arroz con Pollo, which is a Spanish dish, and that is chicken and rice. And we have one of our old favorites who's come back to help us with that one. And then for dessert, a really easy dish that looks really elegant when you finish putting it together, and that is Bailey's Irish Cream Chocolate Mousse. And I'm looking forward to working on that one as well. So that's our menu for today's episode. So buckle up, and we're about to take off for our first destination. All right, so welcome to our trip around the world. And I have some assistants with me today. I have my grandson, Josh. Say hi to everybody, Josh.
Hello.
And I have my granddaughter, Melanie. Say hello, Melanie.
Hello.
Thank you. And we're going to make a dish called stuffed cabbage. And stuffed cabbage comes from Eastern Europe. It's known as a Jewish dish. And so we're starting out with ground beef. And what we did was we cooked the beef in a skillet. And then we sauteed some onions and we put them in with it, right?
Yes.
And some spices. So now we're going to get started. So Josh, if you take the meat and you put it in here. Okay, good job. And now Melanie, you're going to take the rice. Okay.
I want to do the rice.
And then put it in.
I want to do the rice.
Okay, you're going to mix it. Okay, so now it's here. And then Josh, first, go ahead. Let's mix it together.
Yay.
Okay, you're doing a good job. Melanie, I'll be with you 1 second. Okay, all right, let's let Melanie do a little, okay? We'll come back. You ready, Melanie?
Yeah.
Okay, grab hold. Let's mix it well. All right, so we're going to continue to mix this here, and then when we come back, we're going to make some cabbage balls. Say, Josh, stay with us.
Stay with us.
All right, so we're back, and so what we have is our casserole dish that we're going to work with, and what I've done is I've put some cabbage leaves down on the bottom, and that's going to help protect the cabbage from sticking to the casserole dish. And then I have some sweet and sour sauce that I made, and this is tomato juice, lemon juice, and a little bit of brown sugar, and that gives us a sweet and sour sauce. And what I'm going to do is just put a little of the sauce on the bottom here. So we surround the cabbage balls, right? And now, you want to make some cabbage balls?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to put this over here, and I have my cabbage leaves here. So what I'll do is I will grab a cabbage leaf, sorry, sweetie, put that here, and now I need a scoop of the meat. So Josh, you work on that. Grab a scoop. No. Okay, and put it down over here.
I can do
Okay,
it.
go ahead. Let's grab another one.
I can do it.
Okay, go ahead.
I can do it.
Go ahead, you do it. Okay, good job. So we'll push it towards the middle. And you ready, Melanie? You're going to help me with this?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to roll this like this, and we're going to pull it over like that, and we're going to pull it over like that. You ready? And then we roll, and we roll until we have a cabbage ball. And then we put it over here. Should we do another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to do
Okay, you can do it here. Let's grab a cabbage leaf. Let's get a good one here. Okay. You want to spread it out? Okay, go ahead. Okay, Josh, you got a scoop of the meat and rice for me?
I don't know how
Here,
to do it.
let's do it like this. Here, got it?
I know how to do it.
Okay, now put it over here on the cabbage ball. And get me another one. All right, you're going to help me roll it up, okay? Can you get me one more? Should I help you? Let's turn it over. Here, turn it over like this, see? So then you can scoop it, okay, and then put it over here. Just hold it straight. Good job. Okay. Okay, so put your hand over here and push it that way. Okay, now we're going to put your hand over there. Excellent. Okay, now we're going to roll it, roll it, roll it. And we got a cabbage ball. Okay, so we put it over there. You want to grab another cabbage leaf? All right, so we're going to continue working on making these cabbage leaves. And then when we come back, we're going to show you when we get them ready to go in the oven. So stay with us. All right, so we made the cabbage balls. We had so much fun, they're still laughing. Did we have fun rolling the cabbage balls?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Okay, so now we have the cabbage balls here, and now we have the sauce. And so this is what they call a sweet and sour sauce. It's heavy, you're right. And this is tomato juice, lemon, and dark brown sugar. So we're going to pour that over the top, see? And we're going to make sure that we cover the cabbage balls in it because they're actually going to cook in it.
They're going to cook in it?
Right. And now what we're going to do is put a little more down here. Okay. Then I'll put this over here. Now we're going to take some cabbage leaves. Okay. So Josh, you want to help me with this one?
Yeah.
Go ahead, grab it. Let's put it over here. Let's spread it out. That's nice. So Melanie, you want to help me with one? Yeah. Okay, so grab that one with me and let's go ahead, let's put it down over here. Good. Josh, you want to grab one?
Yeah. I can grab one.
Let's put it right over here. Let's spread it out. That's good. And Melanie, you got it? Yeah. Let's put it over here. Go ahead, push it down. Can you push it down? Good job. Okay, we have one more that I'm just going to put in the center right there. And then we're going to put this in the oven. And then we're going to try it. Okay, I got your hand. So join us when it comes out of the oven for the big tasting. So Melanie, say stay with us.
Stay with us.
Okay, thanks everybody. All right, so we are back, right? And I have Melanie with me. Say hi to everybody, Melanie. Okay, and so we've made the stuffed cabbage, right? And it looks great. You did such a good job rolling up the cabbage and everything. So should we try it?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's some. What do you think? Is it yummy?
Yeah.
Very yummy. So there you have it from the source, a young Melanie. So wave to everybody and tell them you should try this. Yummy. All right. So this is stuffed cabbage. Again, it's an Eastern European dish, Jewish food. And so everybody should try it. We'll put the link to the recipe in there so you can get to it. And we're up with more food in a minute. Stay with us. Okay, so we just made this great stuffed cabbage dish, and we hope you enjoy that. And now we're continuing our trip around the world, and we're going to make a stop in Italy. I have my sister-in-law, Elisa, with me. Hi, Elisa. How are you?
Hi, Howie. How are you? I'm good.
I'm good. So this is a dish that's been in the family for years.
Yes.
Right. So tell us a little bit about it and the memories that it brings for you.
Well, I've known about this dish since I was a child, which was a very long time ago. But this is a traditional Neapolitan dish. They call it spaghetti pie, and it's usually made around Easter time, which is where my memories remember it the most. However, since I'm an adult and Grandma has passed, I remember that I can make this at any time of the year because unlike Grandma, who used lard as her emollient, I use Crisco, which is a vegetable shortening, so it's not animal fat of any kind. So anyone can eat this at any time. And I remember how Grandma made it. It's a simple dish, and I'm happy to help to show you and help you
Great.
do this today.
Well, thanks. So we have this bowl of pasta here,
Yes.
but you had to do some stuff to sort of get here. So how did we get to this point?
Well, you take the pound of pasta. This happens to be Dreamfields, but you can use Barilla, Ronzoni, Italian pasta, anything that you would like, but it should be spaghetti because that's the tradition. And I put up a pot of water to boil, and I put the spaghetti in. I salted the water because you can't salt the spaghetti after it's cooked. You have to salt the water while it's boiling, and when it comes to a boil, according to package directions, you boil the pasta in the water. Cooking it 1 minute less than the package says because it's going to cook with the egg mixture in the oven. So that's how we got to this point. I drained it, and then I used Crisco to add to it while it was warm so that the pasta noodles don't stick together like glue. And you have to let it cool completely because in our next step, you will see that adding beaten eggs to hot pasta will cook the eggs like scrambled eggs, and that's not what we want for this dish.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
Okay, so now we're here. We have some eggs, which we have already cracked and beaten.
Yes.
Right? And then we have, so what type of cheese are we using?
We're using Locatelli Romano cheese in this dish.
Okay, and is that the tradition? Can you
It
use
is
other
the
cheeses?
tradition. It is the tradition, but if it's not to your taste, you can mix a mix of Parmigiano and Romano. You know?
All right, that's cool. So if you'll do the mixing, I'll put the cheese in.
Yes.
Okay. So there we go. All right, that's a lot of cheese.
That is a lot of cheese. It's a very cheesy dish. You want it to have some flavor. And if you like mac and cheese, you will love this dish.
Okay, so the cheese is in there. Now we're going to put some cracked pepper in.
Yes.
Okay, so you tell me when.
And this also is according to your taste. If you like it spicier, you can add more pepper. If not, you will do what we are doing here now.
All right,
I
how's
think
that?
we're good.
Okay, so we're going to mix that up, right?
Yes. And before you put the cheese and the pepper in, you make sure that you have whisked your eggs so that they are very light and fluffy.
All right, that looks great. So I'll switch with you. I'll take this, and then you're going to grab your tongs over there, right? Because
Yes, I
what
am.
happens next?
What happens next is that since this is completely cooled, you will take this mixture, pour it in this, and then we need to mix it so that there are not spots where there's no spaghetti and where there's too much egg and cheese. It needs to be very well mixed so that everything is amalgamated.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
I'm ready.
Okay, so in the middle or to the sides?
Anywhere you like.
Okay, and all of it at one time, or do you want me to stop so you can mix a little?
Well, let's see.
Okay.
You can continue, Howie.
All right, there you go. All right, so we're going to continue to mix this pasta together, and next we're going to get it in the pan to put it in the oven. So stay with us. All right, so as you can see, the spaghetti and the egg mixture is here. It's well mixed. You can see that every strand of spaghetti has the cheese and the egg mixture in it.
And the pepper.
And the pepper. Okay, so what's next?
What's next is, this is our baking pan. You could also use a 13 by 9. I'm using a round today. You can bake it in the pan of your choice.
Now this pan has a history to it, right?
Yes, this pan comes from Italy. It is stainless steel, and it comes from the Naples area.
So does that add to the success of the dish? Does it make it better?
Hopefully it will.
Okay,
hopefully
cool.
it will.
All right, so what do?
So now we have to grease this pan, because if we don't grease it, this whole spaghetti mixture will stick and we won't get it out of the pan.
That's not good.
That's not good. We don't want that. So I use Crisco, but you can use whatever you would like to grease the pan. This is the traditional.
So you could use butter, you could use oil.
You could
know,
use
stuff
butter,
like
you could use oil.
that. But this is the real thing.
But this is the real thing. Okay. And this is how Grandma used to do it.
Actually, if we did the real thing, you'd probably have lard in there, right?
That's right, because Grandma used to grease the pan with lard.
And lard is?
Lard is animal fat.
From
you
the
have
pig.
to render it from the pig.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you ever eat down south,
right.
a lot of the cooking that you love to eat in the United States down south, they use lard.
All right. All right, so I noticed that not only are you doing the bottom, but you're getting the sides. Is it important to get the sides?
It's important because this mixture will come up to the sides when we put it in. You'll see that when you pour it in here. And you don't want anything to stick. You want it to be well greased.
Okay.
And I think we have it.
All right, so I'll take that.
Thank you.
Over here, and I'll grab that. Okay,
Thank
now,
you very much.
Now we put the spaghetti in.
I'll hold the pan if you want to put it in.
And I will hopefully get it all in the pan.
Oh, it will go.
Okay, then I'll give these to you.
Okay,
and I'll
perfect.
get this out of the way. So now it's all about like positioning it in the pan,
You have to make sure that it's all sitting in the pan well, that there are not low spots, high spots, because you want it to look like a pie if you were making a pie.
Okay, and we have some of the stuff left from what we did so far, so we have some of the egg mixture left.
Some of the egg mixture can go on top.
Okay.
Some of the cheese can go sprinkled on top, and some of the pepper can go on top if we like. If you do not choose to have a lot of pepper on it, believe me, this is the best mac and cheese dish other than Howie's mac and cheese that you will eat. And
all right, so
you
I'll
will
take
enjoy
that.
it.
And here's the egg mixture for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you might need this back. You want to spread it around?
Yes, I will.
There
Thank you
I'll
so
take
much.
That. You want just good to the last bit, right?
It's always good to the last drop. You got to get everything.
Okay. Then we have a little bit of cheese left over.
Perfect.
Okay, and I'll take those tongs from you.
Thank you so much.
So that's the Romano, right?
Yes.
That we used in the recipe.
This is the remaining Romano that we had in the recipe.
Okay, little tongue twister, remaining Romano.
Yes.
All right, and then you want some cracked pepper over the top?
If that's what you would enjoy to have, sure. That's great.
Okay, so now
this is
what?
ready to go into a preheated oven.
Preheated to?
I cook it on 365 in my oven.
And for how long?
Ovens vary, so
Right.
you have to know your oven. I cook this for about 45 minutes, 40 to 45. I look at it, I check it during cooking. And as long as this looks like everything is set and the top of it is a golden brown, your spaghetti pie is done.
All right, cool. So now we're gonna pop this in the oven, and when we come back, we'll show you what it looks like. So stay with us. All right, so we have this wonderful looking spaghetti pie, Elisa, that you made for us today. And you've sliced it like pie sections. I just want to give everybody a chance to see how delicious this really looks. So this was, we started with the spaghetti.
Yes.
Right, we put the Crisco in.
Yes.
And then the eggs and the cheese and the pepper.
Yes.
Mixed it all up, put it in the oven, and voila.
Voila.
It's like magic, right? So
Yes.
should we taste it?
I think we should.
All right, let's grab our forks and dig in. All right.
Just like Grandma used to make.
Wonderful. Fist pumps. That was awesome. That was a great dish. I hope you all try it and stay with us. More sweets, treats, and eats coming up. All right, so we just finished that most excellent spaghetti pie, and you really should try it. It looks excellent. And now we're gonna do like the best broccoli rabe that you ever had. And joining me today is my sister-in-law, Phyllis. Say hi, Phyllis.
How are you?
Okay, and so let's talk a little bit about broccoli rabe. Sort of a misunderstood vegetable. So why do people not like broccoli rabe?
Most people find it to be bitter.
Okay, and is it because they prepare it wrong?
It's the preparation, but they haven't had mine.
Okay, well, that's excellent. So broccoli rabe is from where? What's the origin of broccoli rabe? What is it? What country is it from? Is it from Italy?
It's from Italy, but then in the United States in the year 2000.
All right, thank you. So let's get started. So how do we start doing this?
We start to separate the bunch, and we want to make sure that we're washing it because there could be sand particles, and that would not be a very pleasant experience for your guests.
Okay, so you're keeping the leaves on.
Yes.
So that's part of it. You don't sort of strip those away.
Not
or
at all.
anything. Okay.
No, I'll trim that down after, but what we want to do is separate it because the sand can get trapped in here.
Okay, that's good to know. So Phyllis is going to continue washing this broccoli rabe, and when we get to that, we'll go to the next step. So stay with us. Okay, so we've washed all the broccoli rabe and we've blotted it dry,
Yes.
right? So what's next?
We're going to trim the ends.
Okay, why do we do that?
Because this can be a little dry, it can also be slightly tough. So I do a more rustic cut than some other people. Some people would actually trim it right up to here, but I leave some of the stem on.
Okay, all right, so how do we do it?
Okay, here we go. Carefully.
All right, so we're going to continue to trim this fine-looking broccoli rabe, and then we will meet you over at the stove where Phyllis will take us through how to cook a most excellent dish. So stay with us.
You can call me Monty.
All right, so we are back with Phyllis, and we've cleaned and blotted the broccoli rabe, right? So that's all ready to go.
Correct.
And now we're going to cook it. So how do we do that?
We're going to start with 1/4 cup of olive oil. And my pan is already warm. So that will give it a head start. And then what we're going to do is to take about a tablespoon of the minced garlic puree and put that in. Thank you. And we'll just move it around a little bit. And once I see some movement in the oil, then I know it's time to start layering in the broccoli rabe.
So while we're waiting for that, just a couple of questions. So broccoli rabe, is it like a family tradition or something? What's broccoli rabe like in your household?
Well, in my household now, it is a tradition, but growing up, we did not eat this. My mother did not care for it because she never had mine. She felt that it was very bitter, but the way that I prepare it, it's not as bitter as other people's preparations of it.
Okay. Do we want to put a little more heat on that?
Yes.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
All right. So
We can start.
You talked about you make like a rustic version
Yes.
of broccoli rabe. So how might other people make it?
Just cleaning the leaves down to something like that where the floret is.
Okay. I got it.
So what we're going to do is put a layer in. Okay. And take some of our black pepper. Okay. And this is nice Himalayan sea salt. And then what we want to do is put a little bit more in. And then what we're going to do is just put the lid on and let it wilt a little bit because we have a whole lot more to get in there.
All right. So we'll give it a chance to wilt. And when we come back, more in the mystery of broccoli rabe. Stay with us. All right, so now we're going to look, and voila, looks like it's somewhat wilted. So now what do we do?
We're going to give it a little toss, and you can see that it's worked its magic on the bottom, but we definitely are going to add more oil
Okay.
at this point, and I'm also going to lower the heat
All right.
and add another layer.
So it was this huge bowl of broccoli rabe when we got started, but when it's all said and done, you'll get just a nice sized platter
Exactly.
of broccoli rabe. So it's the wilting is sort of the key. Now, what do you think it is that your broccoli rabe is not bitter like everybody else's? What's sort of the secret?
Love.
Okay, love's important.
I actually don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
But something about, so you figured this out through trial and error?
Yes.
Okay.
Just I keep making it over and over and had no complaints. I added another teaspoonful of the garlic at this point.
Okay.
Okay, and let's put a little bit more on before we do another wilt.
Okay.
And then one more toss, and we'll let the whole thing cook down.
All right, so we're going to let this wilt a little more, and when we come back, the continuing saga continues. Stay with us. All right, we are back, and it looks like we've had some first-class wilting going on. So where are we now?
We are going to lower the heat, because I'm sorry I'm not used to this cooktop, and we're going to add some more oil. But it smells terrific in this kitchen right now. Sorry. And add the rest of our broccoli rabe. Salt. Pepper. And we're going to finish it with just like a quarter of a teaspoon of the red pepper flakes. And these red pepper flakes are about 70 years old. They're from Frank's Prime Meats Butcher Shop, 113 Avenue Z in Sheepshead Bay, which
Right.
is no longer there. But I think that the age of the red pepper flakes adds something. I'm sorry, I'm used to cooking on a gas stove,
That's okay.
so this is going differently than it does at my house.
All right, so we will finish up the broccoli rabe, and the next time we see you, it'll be all nicely plated, and we're going to taste it. So stay with us. All right, so we're here with this awesome broccoli rabe, and accompanying me is Grandma Fluffy over here.
Monty, whatever.
Or Monty, or whatever. So we have this broccoli rabe. It looks most excellent. I will give you a good look at it so that you can see it. Looks scrumptious.
Thank you.
Shall we try it?
Sure. Cheers. Just like my mother never made.
So you must try this broccoli rabe. Even for those of you out there that don't like broccoli rabe, you should give this a try. So thank you very much for coming and making this for us.
I had a blast, thank you. And my tagline is, you've never had mine.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. So stay with us. More great food coming up. All right, so now we're continuing our trip around the globe with foods from different nations. And back is a favorite. Vinny Garcia is with us. Hi, Vinny. How are you?
Good morning.
All right. So
Glad to be here.
So what we're going to do is a dish called Arroz con Pollo, and it is something that you're very familiar with. So tell us about the dish and tell us how it sort of fits into the family.
Family's from Spain, last name Garcia, so this is something that when I was younger, I wouldn't eat. So my grandmother would make it, both my grandmothers would make it, the one in the story and the one that lived with us here in Plainview. And it was just something that I didn't like as a kid. Now I realize what an idiot I was as a kid and, all these years. I've never made this dish, so doing this live for the first time, my grandmother's recipe is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward.
Okay, so we're going to get started, so stay with us. Okay, so now we are at the stove, and so Vinny, get us started.
Okay, we are preheating our oven to 375 because we are going to transfer what we do on the stove into the oven shortly. We're going to throw a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of, I'm using a cast iron Dutch oven. So just a little bit, enough to coat the bottom, because we are going to take our boneless chicken thighs, skin on. actually not boneless, these have bones in them. You could use boneless if you like, but you do want skin on because the fat is what's going to give that flavor to the rice. It's going to get absorbed into the rice.
And that's the sound.
That sizzle right there is what we want. We've got them over a medium heat here. Might lower that a tiny bit because I don't want to get them too fast. And we're just going to stuff them in there, make room. And we're going to brown them for about 5-7 minutes, then we're going to flip them for probably another 2-3 minutes. We just want to get some color on them, get some of that fat off, get a nice little texture to that.
All right, so we'll let those go for a bit, and when we come back, we will move forward with the recipe, so stay with us. All right, so the chicken looks like it's got some color on it, Vinny, so where do we go from here?
That chicken's been cooking about 6-7 minutes. We just want to get a little bit of color. It's going to finish cooking in the oven, so we're just going to take these out. You see they have, nice little golden. They're not charred, they're not brown. And we're going to remove them to a plate. And then the next step, we're going to be sauteing some onion and garlic because it's not a Spanish dish if there's not garlic in it. So 1 large Spanish onion, obviously, is what we prefer. There's going to be some fat from the chicken cooking in the skillet here. That's what we're going to cook the onions in. If there's a lot of fat, we didn't really get a whole lot of fat because I trimmed a lot of it off because, if we try to cook with a little bit less fat. So don't have to drain anything off. Just going to throw the onions and garlic in there. About 2 cloves of garlic. We like garlic. Spanish household. And our large Spanish onion, which I pre-cut just to make things easier. And we're gonna just let this cook down till the onions are translucent. And then we're gonna go on to, in the meantime, we are prepping our white wine. We use a nice dry white wine. When I looked it up, I don't remember what my grandmother used to use. She probably used to use a whole bottle. We use about half a cup of Pinot Grigio. Nick's favorite wine. We took a little saffron. Saffron, very, very expensive. A little bit goes a long way. You can see it in there. It turns a nice golden color. That's what's going to give the flavor. We could already smell it just sitting here. It's going to give flavor to the rice. It's also going to turn the rice an amazing yellow orange color. So we're going to let this cook and we'll be back in a couple minutes.
All right, so those onions look pretty good. What's next?
Yep, our onions are nice and translucent. You can see we're going to add a can of petite diced tomatoes. These happen to have a little bit of garlic and oregano in it because, again, you can never have too much garlic in anything. You could also use a fresh tomato. If you use a fresh tomato, you want just 1 nice large beefsteak tomato. We're going to stir that up a little bit. I was just saying, this is something that we would eat often. My grandmother, my father's mother, had a house out in Astoria, and used to go there every Sunday. And just the smells of that house. I remember the fish cooking early in the morning. My grandfather would go out. He'd light the charcoal grills, and all the ladies in the neighborhood would start bringing their laundries in because he was getting ready to throw the sardines on the grill, and they'd know that their laundry would smell like fish. So the sounds of those, the squeak of those lines every time was always funny.
So what's the matter? They didn't like the perfume of the sardine?
Exactly,
as
yeah.
part of it? Well, it's sort of the memories of growing up, because the smells make you remember, like around the table with family and stuff like that. I mean, this is all the sort of the mystique of what food does, for you.
But getting back, back when I was little, it was your palate's limited, and
Right.
and to eat stuff like this and the bacalao and the calamar and it's just stuff that didn't appease to me.
Right.
So we're going to let that's cooked a little bit. There's a lot of liquid in the tomatoes that will absorb a little bit. But our next step that we're going to do is we're going to take our wine and saffron mixture that we showed. We're going to dump that in. Along with that is I don't use salt practically at all. We're going to add a little bit of chorizo later. We're going to put in some pimientos. We're going to put in a couple of green olives, for taste and for show. They all have salt in them. So me trying to watch my salt, that's something that I am keenly aware of, so I don't cook with it. If you don't use it and you need to add it later, by all means do. So wine mixture's in. We're going to let that cook down for a little bit. In the meantime, we're going to add our, we put that in, our bay leaves. We got 2 bay leaves that we're going to throw in there. Salt and pepper can go in. I'm going to throw in just a little bit of pepper, black pepper. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe half a teaspoon. Again, this is all to taste. It's what you like. If you don't like black pepper, don't use it. We're going to let this cook down. And once it evaporates, maybe half, we're trying to get some of that liquid out. I'm going to raise the heat a little bit. This fancy stove that I really am starting to like a lot now that I know how to use it.
All right, so we'll let this go for a couple of minutes, and then when we come back, this is starting to look really good, and the smell is even
smell
more
really good.
outrageous. So stay with us. All right, so it looks like a fierce boil going on there, Vinny. So what's next?
Well, next we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. We got most of the liquid absorbed. The rest will absorb into the rice, so we're good with that. Now we're going to add our stock, which again, I use unsalted, 3 cups. That's going to go in the pot as well. Careful not to splash too much.
So it's chicken stock that you're putting in there?
You can use chicken stock, you can use chicken broth. Again, I go with the unsalted. You can always add salt later. Can't take it out. Stir that around just a little bit.
Okay.
The bay leaves floating around. Then the rice goes in.
Okay, is this any particular special kind of rice?
Yes, it is. Thank you for pointing that out. Spanish rice. This happens to be Goya. I ended up getting it. You can get it in any ethnic aisle, and it's everywhere now. We're putting in, I actually forgot how much I'm putting in. It's on the recipe. You can double check, but I think it's 1.5 cups, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. This is Valenciano. You can use Bamba if you can't find a Valenciano. I'm going to raise that up because we're going to bring it to a simmer. We're going to throw that in there. It's going to get transferred into the oven shortly. Stir that around. You can see it's a short grain rice. It's not a long grain rice. By no means, man. My ancestors will come and haunt you for the rest of your lives if you try to use instant rice or anything that's not a good Spanish rice. Then we're going to take in some Spanish olives. I like the pimientos, so we're doing Spanish olives with pimientos. We're throwing them in, add some color. This is where the salt's coming from. And then my special ingredient that I grew up with, that I love, that is not on the recipe, but you can certainly add, is chorizo. This is a smoked pork sausage, Spanish. If you can't find it, they might have something called linguiça, which is a Portuguese version of a smoked chorizo. I've got 3 of them cut in circles, gives a nice color. Again, a lot of salt. Don't need to salt it any more than that. I'm going to bring this up to heat, let it simmer. I'm going to boil it and let it simmer for a little bit. Chicken's going to go on top of that, going to get covered and go in the oven. That's our next step.
All right, great. So then after that, so how long in the oven?
25 minutes, half hour.
But check on it.
We're going to check on it. Just, you don't want to check on it too much because it's rice, you know how it is. You check on rice and you end up screwing it up. So we want it till all the liquid's absorbed into the rice, probably about a half hour. And then the chicken's going to finish cooking. The chicken's going to go on top. We're going to add some pimientos at the very, very end just for some color and to make it look pretty.
Okay, cool. So stay with us because this is coming together really well. I can't wait to taste this. So stay with us. Okay, so we're back, and are we ready for the big unveil?
I think so.
All right, so let's take a look at
Nice.
that.
Looks
and
good.
that looks incredible.
Smells good.
Look at all the cool stuff that's in there. You know, the chorizo really looks yummy in there. It's a nice touch.
Chorizo gives it a nice flavor. And again, I don't think you're going to need to add any seasonings. It should be good with the salt that's in everything else.
So how long did it wind up cooking for?
About a half hour.
About a half an hour?
Yeah,
Okay.
about a half hour.
So be careful because you don't want to overcook it, right? Then it
Exactly.
dries out and stuff. So it's about a half an hour. This is a cast iron casserole dish. So it conducts heat really well, which is probably one of the reasons why it cooked relatively fast. If you're not using cast iron, it might take a little bit longer. So you need to adjust.
Your liquid comes to the top too. That's what happened to me. The liquid came to the top and I thought it needed more time. I just fluffed up the rice. All that liquid just got absorbed. So, just be aware that that could happen as well. Not bad for the first time.
Should we try it?
Absolutely.
All right, do you want to serve us?
Go ahead, yep.
Oops.
You like chorizo?
Sure.
Try it. Green olive?
Sure. A little bit of
See
everything.
if we can, okay, we'll get a little bit of chicken off there. Oh no, look at that, flaked right off, perfect. Should be good.
All right, that looks great, thank you.
Do the same. Bring it low, okay, I'm sorry. Need to see it, Nick. I want him to see the bowl too.
And the chicken is really nice, looks great.
It smells great.
All right, so should we try it?
Yep. Oh, that's good.
Chicken is
I
great.
surprise myself sometimes, I really do.
I want to get a piece of Teresa. On a cold day, when you come in outside, like from shoveling or something like that,
It's perfect.
have this waiting on the table for you. It'd be really awesome. So,
Chorizo, softens up in the liquid and it just puts all the flavor into that rice.
so
rice
thank
is
you
good,
for
everything's
coming
good.
and spending
Thank you for
time with
having me
us.
again.
And this is a great dish that everybody should try. And don't worry, this isn't your last trip with us.
Well, when
We'll
do
be
I have to
back.
apply for a SAG card? I've been on so much now.
All right, so we're going to continue to enjoy this feast here, but stay with us. More coming up.
Residual checks too.
All right, so we're continuing our spanning of the globe for most excellent recipes. Vinny is still with me here. And now we're going to make a Bailey's Irish Cream Chocolate Mousse. Very cool dessert. Irish because it has Bailey's Irish Cream in it. Otherwise, it would be a chocolate mousse. So we're going to start out with, we have some dark chocolate here. So I'm going to put that over here.
Mixing bowl.
And then I have a combination of heavy cream and Bailey's. And I'm going to pour that in there. And then Vinny's going to mix that up.
That was heated, right?
Yes, it was heated to a boil. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a good point. All
All
right,
it's not gonna,
so
it's
now,
melting well.
while Vinny's working on that, I have some heavy cream here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin to beat this until it gets stiff peaks. And then what happens is we're going to pull the two together. So we're going to continue working on this. And then when we come back, we're going to put our mousse together. So stay with us. All right, so as you can see, the whipping cream, we now have whipped cream. And you can see what Vinny was working on, which was the chocolate. With the Baileys and cream in it. So now what we're going to do is Vinny's going to give me a little at a time some of the chocolate. So you can just pour it right in there.
But we're doing it slow, right?
That's good.
That's enough for the first.
And then I'm going to mix that around. Okay, take a little more. Okay, and we'll mix that.
Oh. Yeah, I did that on purpose. Oh, wow.
All right, take a little bit of more in there. A little bit of more.
A little bit more.
Okay, that's good. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep mixing this together. And then when we get it mixed, I'm going to put it in a piping bag. And then we'll come back. And then we're going to make up our mousse cups. So stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. And we have our mixture, which I put in a piping bag. And now what we do is we're going to make up cups of the mousse. So we'll put each one. And I've got more in the bowl to refill. But I'm going to do a couple to show you how to do it. And then we'll do the rest, then we'll come back and show you how to decorate it. So please stay with us. Okay, so it all came together, and Vinny, look at this really cool thing that we put together here. So just a few basic ingredients, some heavy cream, some Bailey's Irish cream, and some dark chocolate, and that was it. And So you boil it, you mix it, you fold it, and then we put it in a piping bag. You don't have to use a piping bag if you don't have it. You can scoop it in to these. We found these cool little like plastic rock glasses that are transparent that sort of shows the mousse really well. And then every refrigerator in the world has one of these. So what I could have done was taken some more heavy cream and whipped it and made it, but I had this in their fridge, so I figured why not, we'll use it. So what you do is to sort of finish it off, you just put a little whipped cream on top of each one, and then right before you serve it, you would do it on the other ones that you have there. And now the only thing left to do is taste it. So should we do that?
Would you call this a rock glass?
Yeah.
That's a shot glass for the Baileys for later.
All right, let's try this out.
That's really good.
That is excellent. You taste the Baileys in there and the chocolate.
You can taste the Baileys. It's not overpowering. It's subtle, but it's delicious.
This is cool. So
Dude, that's
you really do
delicious.
need to try this out because it's a really good crowd pleaser and it doesn't take long. Put it together. You do want to put them in the fridge, after you put them in the cup so they can firm up a little more because it's better when it's cold, but it's still great when it's room temperature. So
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for the dessert and stay with us. All right, so we've come to the end of the episode, but before we leave you, let's do a recap of what we covered on today's program. So we started out with halupki, which is stuffed cabbage. Had some help on that one with my grandkids. Melanie and Joshua joined that, and that was cabbage and chopped meat and rice all rolled up together, and that's a wonderful dish. You should try it. After that was Grandma Serafina's spaghetti pie, and Elisa, true Italian, helped me with that. And that came together well and made this yummy dish, which was excellent. After that was the ultimate broccoli rabe. And Phyllis helped us with that. And she proved to us just because you didn't like broccoli rabe up until now, there is still hope for you with her broccoli rabe. And it was delicious, so you should try that. And then we had Arroz con Pollo, which was chicken and rice, and we had Vinny back to help us with that, and that was a great dish. It had chicken and rice and olives and all kinds of spices. I had a little wine in there. Truly a wonderful dish. And then we ended with a dessert, which was Bailey's Irish Cream Chocolate Mousse, and Vinny helped me with that one again. A few simple ingredients put together made this really great dessert, which you can put together and impress your friends with. So I hope you enjoyed traveling along the way with us to see all these great dishes that we put together. And stay with us because we have gathered additional recipes from around the world, which means we'll have another edition of this. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we hope to see you again on the next episode of Sweets, Treats, and Eats. Thank you.